Hello, and welcome to Higher Ed Live. I'm Alaina Wiens, your guest host for the evening, and tonight we're going to be talking about High Ed Web Michigan. This was the first ever High Ed Web Regional Conference in Michigan, and tonight we're going to do a little roundtable recap with some great folks who were at the conference with me. The conference was this week. We just finished up. It was May 20th and 21st here in Flint, Michigan. But before I introduce you to all of our guests, which include organizers and presenters and some great attendees, we have a little bit about our sponsors we want to give some shout outs to. First, OmniUpdate, who I had the pleasure of meeting some folks from at the conference. OmniUpdate is the leading web content management system provider for higher education. The company's web CMS, OU Campus, is secure and scalable with great tools and features, deployable flexibility, and an awesome user community. Are you looking for a web CMS? Experience OmniUpdate's award-winning OU Campus through a live demo. We're going to tweet a link to the demo right now. Higher Ed Live is also sponsoring Integral, the creators of the Schools app, a private Facebook community to boost enrollment and retention. You can check out their blog, Integral Insights, for posts on admissions marketing, student engagement, and social media in higher education. And we're going to tweet a link to that blog right now, too. One more note for all of you folks who are tuning in with us tonight. We're going to be giving away a $100 Google AdWords code to one of our Higher Ed Live tweeters tonight. So make sure that you tag all of your posts and questions with Higher Ed Live. The best question from the audience tonight will be the winner. So let's introduce our guests. I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you. We're going to start with Matthew.
Hi, Matthew Adams at the University of Michigan. I was a committee member and a speaker.
How about Aaron next?
Hi, I'm Aaron Rester, University of Chicago Law School, and I was a speaker.
Hi, I'm Alex Winkfield. I'm the videographer for the College of Worcester, and I was a speaker.
Hi, I'm Amy Jorgensen. I'm a senior brand manager for the University of Michigan Health System, and I was a participant.
Hi, y'all. I'm Brian Proffer. I'm a graduate student here at Eastern Michigan University. I was just a participant.
Not just a participant.
Never just a participant. All right, well, I'm going to actually sort of facilitate a conversation between you guys because we all want to hear from you and not me. The first question I have is for Matthew. Since you were on the committee, you obviously know that this was the first High Ed Web Regional in Michigan, so can you talk a little bit about why a conference like this is so important in the area?
Because Arkansas is too far away. I think that there are a lot of individuals and universities in this area who are interested in kind of getting together with other higher ed web professionals and working through some ideas, kind of benchmarking with one another and having some more intimate conversations. I don't see anything like this in this area have been going on previous to this, and I hope it's something we can repeat in the future.
Definitely, and one question I was going to turn over to Amy. We kicked off our conference with Christina Halverson, which I know I was really excited about. She was our keynote speaker, and she did a really good job of getting everyone thinking about content strategy, or at least we hope. Did you learn anything from her presentation that you think you can take back to your office?
Oh my goodness, all of it. I really enjoyed the presentation, the energy, the cheesy jokes. She was an extraordinary keynote. Some of the big things I was really excited about was the push for organization and going through and doing a lot of content analysis and using that as a way to really assess all the different assets that you currently have, and then from that point forward to look at what are some things that we can build upon and kind of build a strategy and look at things that they can advance upon. So it's looking at the assets and looking how you can get better. And I love a lot of the organization points and how we don't always have as many staff as we'd probably like in order to build some of the content. I know in the health system we have well over 50,000 pages, so it'd be really nice to have a whole slew of content managers and content experts, but or we can be limited because, of course, it's higher ed. So it was nice and reassuring that, sometimes we've just got to pull together and put on multiple hats, and staying organized is the best way to move forward.
Did you think you got some things from there that will help you do all of those things?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Sounds like a big task.
Yes, I love how she outlined the different roles and illustrated how they could potentially work together. So, kind of went through and said, all right, here's what a content editor should do. Here's what the program manager should do. Here's what, things like that. And then also, the content audit, the spreadsheets, and I think some of the other presentations kind of, had some support with that. Her book is extraordinary in breaking that down of here's how to go through and do a content audit to look at everything and, make sure that everything's formatted the way we want and check up on it regularly and things like that. So those tools were extraordinary. I highly recommend her book.
Yeah, me too. For those of you who haven't read it, her book is Content Strategy for the Web. I just said red because it is red. I can show it to you when I'm up next. I'm going to pick on Brian next because for those of you who don't know, Brian Proffer and I go way back.
Yes.
He was a worker for me years ago when I did special events, and he did special events, and now neither of us do special events. So, Brian, you've been in higher ed, but you're a grad student right now. Do you think the conference is valuable for students too? And what did you get from the conference?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely applicable to grad students. In student affairs, where I was for about 5 years, we're a little inundated with multitasking. Like Amy said, we're doing a little bit of everything everywhere. And so we're kind of popular for the launch and leave syndrome. We're just throwing up a page, it's out there. We don't have time to really maintain it. But after listening to some of the keynotes, comments, and then going through the conference, definitely not the best way. And in student affairs, we're always pushing for how to serve the students the best and how to really get the most out of the small resources that we might have at the time, as well as with the small manpower. And content strategy, even though 5 years ago I would have said, what's content strategy? And I don't know what that is or anything. It's going to be key to how we survive and how we reach out to the students and keep them engaged and keep them informed, because the generations coming up, they are technology. I don't remember which presenter had it, but they were talking about their 2 or 3 year old playing on the iPad and taking all these pictures and doing homework by iPads, and they're only 5 or 6 years old. These are the students coming up into higher ed, and so if we don't get on the same level as them, or we don't give them the resources, programming that they need, then it's just not going to be flying well. So I think that knowing about all the analytics, how to analyze everything, and how to strategize is going to be absolute key. So I would suggest any graduate student, I'll put a plug, go to your regional conference or go to the national conference or go to any one of them, because you'll definitely have your mind blown on what you could actually do and just push everything even further out there, and you get more accomplished because of it.
Great. So now I'm going to make everybody talk. I hope you're all ready. I want to hear from you guys, the presenters too, everybody, which sessions you think were the biggest hits, or which ones you were most able to relate to or draw inspiration from. I'm going to go back to Amy, and then we can go around. Oh, Amy, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. I have a very noisy basset hound that I have to watch out for. I was not sucking up. I was genuinely really impressed by the presentation by my comrades over in the U of M LSA. I really appreciated how they talked about how they launched their ideas to their team, and how the process that they went through. I really love that they talked about how you need to start with getting buy-in from management and using analytics and data to support them, and then support the strategy and the things that they wanted to do. And then after they got the buy-in from the management and the executive team, they went down and were able to get some things done and were very organized about things. I learned a lot about the project management that way, and I think it was really valuable to show that we may have really good ideas, but a lot of times it's the presentation of those ideas that is so critical to relate to whether or not we can be successful with the execution. Because we just go and say, oh, I have a really good idea, and it's because I say so, because this is my job. It's not quite as credible as going in with saying, well, here's a whole bunch of research that backs up and supports these these new initiatives that need to be done, and why they need to be done, and how they need to be done. So I really appreciated that. And then also having, and going through and saying, you know what, let's go back and make sure things are responsive, and let's go back. So after you do things, it's always perpetual. You're always moving forward, and that's one of the crazy things about web, is it never stops. You're always looking for the next thing to do. So that was really inspiring, and didn't feel like I was quite alone on that.
And that is kind of the point, isn't it? To feel like we're not alone. Yes, it is for me. I'm going to make Alex talk next. We haven't heard from you in a minute. Was your presentation your favorite, or did you find another one that you liked?
That's awesome.
I don't think there's a correct way to answer that question. But no, two that really stuck out to me were Andrew Smick talking about bringing technology into the classroom and using the social media that students are already very active on, and bringing that into the classroom and allowing students to interact with their professors using those outlets. And it was interesting because he started out on the staff side and in web development, and now he teaches, I think, one class a semester, and kind of uses his class as guinea pigs every time. And I had some really interesting things to share about that. And I think that we have some professors here at the College of Worcester who would really love to hear about things like that and utilize tools like that. And then I also liked Ron Bronson's talk for a couple of reasons. I thought two of his points in particular really stuck out. The first was, it's not, if we're all magicians, that it's not magic. So just emphasizing that there's real value in listening and learning from others, and not feeling like you need to be updating a blog all the time, or you need to be really forward and feeling like you need to be constantly contributing to others around you. You can sit back and learn and watch and absorb. And there was another point too, and now it's slipping my mind. But I liked Ron, and I liked what he had to say, and just the idea of reaching out and just building connections on a personal and professional level, I thought was really great.
Yeah, that was one that I actually got to sit in on for a little bit, and even though you think about a lot of that stuff, or at least I do, it was the one point in the conference where I was reminded to actually reach out and connect with some other people too, even though I was running around, so I appreciated that a lot. How about you, Aaron? I'm going to ask you about your own presentation in a minute, but what about other presentations you may have liked?
Well, I would say that I enjoyed most of the sessions that I went to. I think in terms of sort of like things I can take away and bring back to the office right away. Alex's presentation was one of them. I told him afterwards that I thought he would or that I wished that I had heard his presentation about 6 months ago before we brought video in-house at my school. And then also in terms of things that I can bring back right away, Lane Joplin's spreadsheet for sort of tracking social media engagement and stuff like that was in and of itself worth the price of admission. So I don't have the link off the top of my head, but a lot of the people tweeted it out during her session. So if you can track that down. I also really enjoyed Ron Bronson's presentation. Mostly, I felt like I was already a convert to what he was saying. I just kind of like enjoyed the watching him connect with the audience and watching the craftsmanship happen there. So yeah.
I'm going to try to find the link to Lane's spreadsheet. I heard a lot of really good things about that one too. What about you, Matthew?
I was doing a lot of running around too, Alaina. So we didn't get to watch every single presentation. Certainly, because I, along with you, helped choose the presentations. I wanted to hear all of them. But I think Andrew Smix hit home quite a little bit at the end. He was talking about how access to mobile technology equaled engagement, and engagement equaled good pedagogy. I think I pronounced pedagogy wrong, at least for my area of the nation. Anyway, and just how that could probably be access equals engagement, engagement equals an opportunity to teach people. I think that could be extrapolated into not just the classroom, but of everything we do in web for higher ed, is that we're trying to get people, the information, access to the information that we have to kind of get them engaged to what we're doing and teach them something so that they can learn about our program or whatever it is. So that was a really good one. And I think for all the hard coders out there, Nicole Rhodes' talk on semantics was pretty powerful as well. And then I think really that's just about all I got to watch all the way through. That's about it.
But they were good ones.
They were really, really good ones.
And we all heard really good things about yours too.
Oh, thanks. Thanks to Amy too for the shout out. That was nice.
It was really good, and I love how you guys balanced, and the whole conference was like this, how there was a balance between, the content stuff and some of the strategy, and then some of the, like you said, the coding and some of the technical stuff. So I thought that was awesome. So there was a little bit something for everybody.
I agree.
That was what we wanted to do. Hooray! Brian, how about you? Did you have a favorite session or sessions?
I would have to say probably my top two was Andrew's and Lane's. I was actually giggling and giddy about Lane's. I primarily do social media, so finding out a way and the best practices and a spreadsheet to show numbers to the supervisors was absolutely amazing. I left with the biggest smile on my face with that. But I really enjoyed them all, and like it was just said, there was a little bit of everything for everyone. I mean, if you're into the hard coding, and if you're into the analytics, if you're into the content strategy, there was something for everyone. So it's not just a one-track mind conference. So, and that's rare to find. So, yeah.
Great. I'm going to take it back to Erin now, because I wanted to hear from you about, while you were preparing your presentation, you actually put out a survey, and you got a whole lot of response, which was fascinating to me because I never get any of that kind of response. So that, to me, in and of itself says that this is something that people really care about. Your presentation was called the Dream Org Chart. So I wondered if you could talk a little bit about that and any discoveries you may have made during the process that you learned from before you taught it to other people.
Yeah, I did get an amazing response. I really, folks who are watching, if you filled out the survey, I really appreciate it. Thank you for your help. So I feel like I still maybe haven't gotten all the way to the bottom of all of the data. I'm going to keep looking at it, and I hope everybody else will too. I think we already tweeted out the link to it. All the data is public, so if you want to go in and sift through it, and poke around and see what you find, please do so by all means. I am hoping that maybe somebody will be interested enough in it that they'll want to keep working on it. But in terms of the stuff that I saw there, I think two of the things that I saw, one of them just sort of confirmed what I thought going in, which was, really kind of showed that no two schools ever really do the same thing, that they are both that they're all, that every school seems to have tried something different in terms of how they set up their web department. And I don't know, maybe in the course of that we'll stumble upon, the perfect system. I don't know. But the other thing that I thought was really interesting was that a large majority of people, or a large majority of schools, didn't charge for their services, and I thought that was kind of fascinating, because I sort of expected that we all would have been moving to these chargeback models as web departments become more established and everything, but something like 80% of the schools that responded to that question did not have a chargeback model. And one of the things I talked about in the presentation was about how difficult it is to try to get your clients to actually value what you do if you're, if it's not costing them any money, right? So people tend to undervalue free services, or services that are perceived as free. So those were two of the interesting statistics that came out of the research.
I think it's interesting that you say that you were surprised that so many people don't charge for web services, because I'm always surprised when I hear that people do charge for web services.
Yeah, I guess it's probably a function of the fact that at Chicago they do charge the central web services, and it has been like that I think since I got there in 2000. So it's something that they had very early on. So I sort of expected that it would be like that everywhere else, or that at least it would have been a more increasing model that people would have been using.
Do you think that if a university or a department were to try to switch from not charging to a model where they do charge, that it might discourage people from doing even as much web work as they're doing now? I wonder how that process would work.
Right. I mean, probably. What I suggested in the talk was a switch to a kind of credit model, so that it wouldn't actually cost departments money that they could be spending on other things, but they would still have sort of a unit of value to ascribe to the work that web departments are doing. So I feel like that might soften the blow a little bit if it's not taking away money that they could be using for other things.
Great. Maybe someday we'll try it. I know there was a lot of conversation about the credits that you were talking about, and I saw some conversation on Twitter about that today too, so I think people thought that was really interesting. Okay, I'm going to ask Alex a question, but before I ask Alex a question, can I get that dog back up on the screen?
Chauncey, come here.
We'll give this like 1 minute, because you guys have to see this dog.
Okay, wait, can you... Okay, here you go.
There's Chauncey.
Oh, man.
Okay, wait, there you go.
That's great.
Thanks for joining us, Chauncey. Okay, that
He's
was all.
really interested in digital content.
I appreciate that about him. That's my favorite thing about him, actually.
He's got a good nose for it.
Oh, man.
Just so everybody knows, that was my fault, Matthew Adams. I did that.
Okay, so back to Alex in High Ed Web Michigan. I don't think most of the people who were at High Ed Web Michigan realize this because you were so fantastic, but this was actually your first conference presentation.
It was.
So how did that go? Do you think you'll do it again?
Well, with any luck, I guess. It was a lot of fun, and I owe a big debt of gratitude to Chris Ankney, first of all, because I had the wrong Mac adapter for the projector, so it wouldn't have even happened if he hadn't been there to bail me out. But no, I had a lot of fun, and it was really great to kind of combine some of my personal interests into my professional talk. I'm really into cycling, so I got to talk about that a little bit. I got to talk about my family life a little bit, and just how all those things relate to the things that we do in the web. And it was a lot of fun to share about the things that we've learned in the past 3 years here at Worcester, trying to get a web video program not just going, but a sustainable program off and running. And so it was a really great opportunity, and I think the best part about it was just getting to interact with people afterwards and see the the feedback on Twitter. That really meant a lot to me, the support that I got from the audience, and people seemed genuinely interested and like it was helpful to them. So I really appreciated comments like Aaron's where, I wish I'd talked to you sooner, and Tim Neckeritz came up to me and was like, I got to get you to talk to our college president. So it was a really great thing, and yeah, I would love to do it again.
I'd love to see you do it again. Go to all the conferences and talk to all the people.
All right. Well, if you guys know some people at the national conference, maybe pull some strings for me. We'll see what we can do. So
I'll do my best.
I keep telling Cliffy Ballgame, he's a video guy too, and he's on the national committee. I mean, he's got to have the inside track for me, right?
He is a good one to know.
Yeah, he is.
That Cliff Jenkins. Well, Amy, even though your dog's not there anymore, I would like to ask you, as an attendee, what do you think was the best part of the conference?
I really enjoyed the ability to collaborate with other people, get their ideas, share, and when it comes down to it, find the most efficient ways to do things. I think it's nice to know that we're all, like I talked about before, trying to wear many hats. So it's really cool to try and come together and say, all right, here's how I've done social media. I love that Jane sent out Lane sent out a spreadsheet on how she did this, and then the content strategy, they had spreadsheets and suggestions on how to do that, and how the process went. So I thought it was really beneficial to go through and find the most efficient ways to do things. I think that's really, really cool. Learning from others, mistakes and also their successes. That's what's so amazing about our industry. If you're if you're working for Universal Studios, you can't exactly go down to SeaWorld or Disney and ask them on how they do things more efficiently. And that's what's so amazing about higher ed is that we're able to collaborate with one another. We're able to share best practices and, learn from one another.
Brian, what about you?
I think from my vantage point as a grad student and I guess kind of former student affairs employee for right now is getting out of those silos. One of the things that was most commented on throughout the entire conference was to collaborate and get out of your silos and work with each other. And a lot of times, I know I've done it myself, get stuck in my student affairs theory or my student development theory, and I want this out on the web. I want this as a Facebook profile. I want this to go blasted all over Twitter. But sometimes that's not the best way, and I always used to butt heads with people about that when, well, say Alaina Wiens would come at me and be like, yeah, you probably don't want to put that out 1,000 times. But the conference really gave me a good perspective on, well, this is why, and to get out of that mindset of just being in my theory and my practice, and to try and meld that with everyone else's so that we can get the best product and best content strategy out there. Yeah, I think that was, for me, the best part of it.
Are you implying that I reprimanded you?
No, you guided me very well. Very well. You guided me to Twitter, and now I can't get off of it. So
you're welcome, world. Brian Proffer's on Twitter. You're welcome.
Yes.
I'll take secondary credit for that one.
Oh, this is like the transitive theory. You see, Aaron Rester got me on Twitter.
Oh,
and I got you on Twitter.
You're like my
so
Twitter
Aaron
grandpa.
Rester actually got you on Twitter.
It's like the Ring.
That's awesome. You're like my Twitter grandpa right there.
Did you just call him a Twitter grandpa?
That's the best. That's almost as good as the dog.
Somebody get it up there quick, Twitter grandpa.
Twitter grandpa.
Yeah, Shinny back when I was
I don't see it coming across yet. I know it's going to be there any second.
I can't type. I'm talking right now. Okay, so my next question is, how do professional opportunities like this help you in your jobs? Which things do you get the most from? How do you make sure you get the most out of the experience? I'm going to go around to everybody, but I'm going to start with Matthew.
Okay, all right. So I have to harken back a little bit to Austin 11, at the national conference, and just what happened as a result of that. I mean, you're taking so many notes, whether it's Evernote or writing it down on paper. I can remember that I came back and I kind of said, looking at these, is there one action point I'm going to take from one of these talks and actually set an appointment to go talk to somebody else about that. I remember, I think it was Georgie that was talking about news and the web and the college websites, and I actually offered that up at a meeting that maybe our news should take over our college's homepage, and sure enough, the magazine took that and ran with it. And if you go to lsa.umich.edu, you can see the LSA Today news stories are there, predominantly driving people who are visiting our college's website to what's really happening at the school. So I think that there are things like that where you can say, here are people who have experience in the web, in what we're doing, and this is kind of a benchmark for us. Maybe we should try it too. I also think that there are some great connections that you can foster through things like Twitter with your Twitter grandparents, and to really just kind of connect the dots throughout the rest of the year in between the conferences. So I think there are plenty of opportunities for you to really, set yourself as an expert because you heard it from somebody else that it's working for. Maybe we should try it. So I think that helped out quite a bit. And I hope that's what some of our attendees and participants got from this experience as well.
Brian, how about you?
Well, I love reconnecting with everyone that I haven't seen in a while. That's one of the best things that I like. I think that just the education that I get out of it too. Being newer in the field, I'm just trying to soak up everything I can, and conferences like this to where I've dabbled a little bit but haven't really gotten my teeth sunk into a lot of it yet, really helped me along, and especially being newer gives me a good perspective and doesn't I guess silo me or define me so quickly right off the bat. So and I like just seeing everyone and meeting awesome new people, like the people I'm with on this awesome little hangout now. Hi.
Hi, Brian. Alex, what about you? This is your first conference presentation, but is this the first conference you've attended?
It's not, actually. I've gone to the last two national conferences in Austin and Milwaukee. And
you were in Austin?
I was.
I didn't even see you.
I'm pretty easy to disguise. I blend in a crowd.
All right.
But anyway.
Sorry.
I like going to these because at work, I'm just the videographer. I don't do really much of anything outside of creating video. So I like to go to these conferences and hear how people plan their content strategy. I really liked Eric Runyon and his presentation on responsive web design, and just hearing about what goes into what other people are doing in the web. And every year at the national conference, I try to get into at least one or two propeller hat sessions and some management sessions. I really think that there are things for everybody, and regardless of what you're currently doing, there's a lot of valuable information that gets shared at all of these conferences.
How about Aaron?
Well, so I enjoy the sessions. I learn stuff at the sessions. But I really think that the most valuable part of these conferences, and as a Twitter grandpa, I've been going to them for quite a few years now. But I think the most valuable part is just the people you meet there, because the conference is only a couple of days long, but you can keep learning from those people that you meet there, all year round. And every conference I go to, there's at least 5 new people I meet who I just learn something great from, on Twitter or on Facebook or something like that, and we become resources for each other, which is really what it's all about, I think.
And before I ask Amy, I'm going to chime in. That's always my biggest takeaway from these conferences is the conversation that happens there and afterward. It's always a beginning point of a conversation for me. So with the new people that I meet or the new things that I learn, it always starts a new conversation that carries on forever. And then we all become someone's Twitter grandpa, and it evolves. It's like magic. Amy, how about you? What do you do to make sure that you get the most out of these things?
Well, what I thought was so valuable was I didn't know any of you before this week. So it was pretty cool to be able to connect with, other people across the state, across the country, across town that I didn't know were here. And being new to the Midwest, I was really excited to, have the opportunity to collaborate with everyone. I thought the conference was awesome. There was a really good balance of the types of presentations and then also the opportunities for kind of break times and food and snacks and stuff like that, which is always important, keep us fed. And then, I just thought it was a lot of fun. And I think professionally going through and being able to connect with people on Twitter, for the longest time, years ago, I was like, I will never get on Twitter. It's the biggest waste of time. And I have found that to be the best resource in networking and connecting with other professionals in higher ed. I mean, hands down, I have found it to be more beneficial than Facebook or LinkedIn combined. It's a lot easier and a lot less creepy to follow someone on Twitter than it is to send a random friend request or a LinkedIn request. So it was nice to be able to start to connect with people and start to be able to engage in the conversation of, what can we do to, collaborate and help one another. And I don't know, I felt really lucky that I got to be in this group of really, really smart people that are good at what they do, and they entertain me and my gluten-free crepes and Basset Hound stories and all sorts of good stuff like that.
And you're one of the smart people too.
Yes.
We're doing lunch next week sometime, right, Amy?
Yes, definitely.
For the first time in, I don't know, ever?
I know, because I didn't even know who you were before this conference, and you're in Ann Arbor. And
yeah.
How cool is that I got to connect with other people at my own institution that I didn't know who they were.
Right.
So that's what's so fantastic about these conferences. You can reach out and make new BFFs.
Before I ask another question, I'm wondering, because Ann Arbor was mentioned, do I have to leave room for Alex now to harass anyone? Are you good over there, Alex?
Harass people? You mean about that team that is no good that you all like?
Okay, I just wanted you to get it out of your system.
All right.
That's all.
When's the last time Ohio State won a national championship? I don't even know.
2002.
Oh.
More recently than Michigan.
But not as recently as the Gators.
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
Was that Stevens?
Was that 2002 a legal win? Sorry.
It still stands.
Okay, all right. Must be illegal then.
Are you guys talking about Quidditch, or what's going on here?
Yes. All right, let's get back on track, friends. Welcome to Higher Ed Live, friends. That was my fault. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, you did. You opened the can of worms.
And we all get along and like to collaborate, is the point.
We're having a conversation.
The rivalries melt away. The rivalries melt away.
We need theme music now. So let's say we decide to be crazy kids and try this thing all over again next year, which is up in the air at the moment. But let's cross our fingers and hope that it happens. And if we do, what kinds of things do you think we should try to add in or keep doing? Were there any topics that you maybe would have liked to have seen? Any new conversations that you were hoping you would have been able to be a part of that we can pursue for next time? And I'm going to start with Aaron.
Oh, great. The question I didn't prepare.
I'm sorry. I'm ad-libbing now.
Okay. Let's see. More beer.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, let me jump in on this one. I want to jump in on this one if I can.
Please
Always.
do.
Flint Institute of Arts kind of let us down just in the beer. Other than that, really cool outing, beautiful museum, but Michelob Ultra, sad day. Sad day. Back to Aaron.
That was a little depressing. I'll admit it. But
You broke Higher Ed Live. I don't know. I can't.
I blame Alaina. I blame Alaina for that one.
They didn't run that past me. I took you all to the torch. You got good beer there.
There wasn't a beer committee?
That's the addition for next year.
Mark that down.
I volunteer to head up the
Make
beer
note.
committee if you guys need one.
Yeah, I'm happy to volunteer for that one. If
Me too.
There'll be tastings and...
Okay, but
Brandon.
in the realm of higher ed and
right.
web and all of that good stuff.
That's recorded. They volunteered for a committee.
So I mean, as I tweeted after the conference, this was the first regional that I'd been to, and it really did exceed all of my expectations. You guys did a fantastic job. Honestly, the only thing I was left wanting was that it was longer. If it had been longer, that would have been better. But other than that, I thought it was just really well put together. Good mix of speakers. Can you not hear me? Oh, okay. It says they muted my mic. Is that not true?
No, it's not true. I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Good. Google. Anyway, so I think I'm having a hard time coming up with ways that.
So more good things.
Yeah.
More good people. Well, how about Alex? How about you?
That'll be awesome.
I was just gonna say that I really liked. This was my first regional conference as well, and I really liked a lot of the things about it. I liked that it was so much smaller than the national conference because it gave me a chance to interact with the organizers a lot more. There were 3 of you on the organizing committee as opposed to 10 to 12 or however many do the national conference, and it just felt a lot more personal, but still a good-sized crowd. So you felt like you were sharing good information with a really good group of people. And if you haven't checked out a national conference or a regional conference, I really recommend the regional conferences, both for budgetary reasons. They're obviously a lot more affordable, and just a really personal feel that I got from it I thought was great. And I will say this as well. I had a really good time talking with Sean and Matt, who work at the University of Michigan, and I really enjoyed talking with Eric Runyon, who's a Michigan alum. So it really was a cool opportunity to talk to a lot of different people and get to hear the things that they have going on at work right now, and just kind of share what we're all going through. It was great.
Yeah, I concur with that statement.
Does anybody else want to jump in? Maybe not so much what was missing, but last parting recommendations, suggestions, comments.
I wonder, and this probably isn't really for detailed discussion here, but I wonder what like a swap meet would be like. Not a literal swap meet, but like an idea swap meet, where maybe it was instead of somebody at the lectern dispensing information, that somehow we could facilitate a discussion of various round tables about kind of what they're doing, maybe centered around various topics. I think that might be interesting, so that these people we can facilitate the conversations kind of that we have had even just between us 5 or 6 today.
I would have loved to have seen some more handouts or some way of sharing the slides or something a little bit sooner, because I think all the information is going to be available next week. And perhaps there's a way that I know we all would prefer to go digital and not have paper handouts, but if there was a way to somehow say, all right, here's the PowerPoints before the presentation so you can follow along, or here's a way that there's handouts that accompany the presentation, things that you can take back. I think that would have been really beneficial, and then also an opportunity to see everybody's amazing work. Maybe there's an opportunity to have like a little, science fair kind of thing, like a little area, a couple of tables set up where people can put either images of their websites or links, QR codes to their website, so you can check out some of the amazing things that they've done, resources that they have, as another opportunity to kind of share and collaborate with one another and look at the ideas. I think that'd be kind of cool, because I ended up going to everybody's websites and looking at some of the things that they've done, and I looked at Alex's videos, and I looked at, and they're all extraordinary, and as opposed to being a participant that had to go out and seek this information, having an opportunity to have it, right there and ready for me would make it a little bit easier, and I think it'd be an additional opportunity for people to really promote themselves, and for us to be able to be better sponsors of one another and say, look at this amazing video that Alex did, or look at this amazing, content organization that this individual did, or, things like that. So that's one thing, just an idea for next year.
I think that's great. If there was some way, we had a little bit of a conversation about some kind of show and tell, but I think if there was some place that we could either during or before or after the conference just sort of collect all kinds of examples of really great work from the attendees and the presenters and everybody and put them someplace centrally so people can see what's going on. That's kind of an interesting thought that's a little bit different than like a poster session, or which can be really great too. So maybe that's something we could consider for the future, is building in a place for that. But
maybe even like a Tumblr blog or something. I don't know.
I think that's smart.
Also, a musical interlude.
More music.
Why in the world would you say that, Aaron?
Are you wanting to show off your tenor skills?
we need more bands playing.
All the music. I demand a banjo.
And more cowbell. Always more cowbell.
Right. And you can bring Chauncey.
He's got a top hat. He's ready.
Yes, definitely more pets. There should be more pets next time.
I have an awesome golden retriever. His name is Jens. He's named after a cyclist. He's very friendly. I'm at my office right now, so he's not here, unfortunately. But
you should bring your kids next time. They were so cute. Or your kid.
Just one.
Maybe by next year there'll be two.
No. Just one last thing. A lot of what Amy is describing is very similar to a poster session at the national conference. And the last 2 years, I've presented a poster, and I really liked it for a lot of the reasons she's talking about. It's a chance to show off a little bit more specifically what you're doing, and then it's just a lot of good one-on-one interaction. Each year, I think I printed out like 50 handouts and maybe came home with 3 or 4 of them. So it's really, it's a really great addition to the national conference. I don't know if something exactly the same would work at a regional one or not, but they're very cool.
Definitely something to think about for the future. Well, I think we're almost out of time. Before I announce the grand winner of our Google AdWords code, I want to thank you all for being a part of this. Oh, and Matthew's got something to show everyone.
Well, no, not just that, but I wanted to thank you, Alaina, for kind of chairing this, and Nick for co-chairing and getting this thing done and launched and inaugurated and breaking the ice so somebody else can take it over next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, agreed.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for thanking me. Okay, anyway, so I wanted to thank you all for being here and for helping to make our conference what it was. I was really so happy to see all of the great presentations that we got. It was amazing to me how many people came so far to be a part of the conference. We had presenters from Wyoming, from Austin, from Canada, from Chicago, from all over the state. I'm sure other places I'm missing, Ohio.
Yeah.
It was a lot broader than I had hoped, and I got so much out of it, even though I could only see bits and pieces, and I'm thrilled. I think it's great. So there's all of those warm fuzzies. Okay, so our winner of our Google Analytics code is our friend Moonball on Twitter, who asked a very fantastic question about the difference between regional conferences and national conferences, who was answered by our friend Tanya Oak-Smith about all of the great things that regionals offer versus national. And so I think that Moonball, who that's not her real name, but if you want to get a hold of me after the show on Twitter or Facebook or wherever, you know how to find me. I will get you the information that you need to redeem your prize. So thanks for all of you for joining us. This has been a lot of fun for me. This has been hopefully a lot of fun for all of you. You can join us next Thursday night on Higher Ed Live when Mark Greenfield will discuss higher ed flattening, or not flattening. And that's all we've got. Thanks so much for joining us. We're wrapping up a little bit early, and we'll see you online later.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy.